Wow. Okay, so this is big news, huh?
Yeah, definitely a pretty major shakeup over at Red Bull.
Yeah, you sent over a bunch of these articles, and I mean, it seems like things are moving crazy fast over there.
It is pretty wild considering we're only 2 races into the season.
Exactly. Like, usually these kinds of things happen, later on, maybe mid-season. But to have a driver swap this early on is kind of unheard of.
It is, and
Yeah.
especially at Red Bull, they've always been pretty, ruthless.
Right.
But this is really fast, even for them.
Right. So let's dive into this and try to make sense of it all. I mean, why the sudden change? What does it mean for the drivers? And, what does it tell us about the whole F1 world?
Yeah, great question. So let's start with the what. Okay, so we've got a couple of F1 blogs articles here, one from the Netherlands, one from France, and they're both reporting the same thing, that Yuki Tsunoda is set to replace Liam Lawson at Red Bull Racing.
Wow. Just like that, huh? Lawson's out?
Seems like it, yeah, and it sounds like the decision was made pretty recently too, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday this week.
Okay, so wait, Lawson only just got into that Red Bull seat, right? Like he just raced in Australia and China?
Yeah, exactly. 2 races. That's it. And the article from F1 Blogs Netherlands is pretty brutal. They're calling him, quote, the worst debutant in the history of the energy drink team.
Ouch, that's gotta sting.
Yeah, not exactly a glowing review, and his performance in China seems to be the main issue. He finished 12th, which isn't great, but he was also the slowest in both the sprint qualifying and the main qualifying session.
Yeah, so it wasn't just one bad race. It was kind of a whole weekend of struggling.
Right, and according to F1 Blogs, that led to some serious discontent back at Red Bull headquarters. Horner and Marco weren't happy.
Yeah, bet not.
Yeah.
So they did a deep dive into the data and decided to make a change.
Sounds like it, and that change bringing Tsunoda up from Racing Bulls to partner Verstappen.
Man, what a moment for Tsunoda. Imagine getting that call. Can you believe he might make his Red Bull debut at his home race in Japan?
That would be incredible. Talk about pressure, but also an amazing opportunity.
Totally. And it sounds like Honda had something to do with it, too.
Yeah, the articles mentioned that Honda, Red Bull's engine supplier, is a big Tsunoda supporter, and they were involved in the discussions.
Oh, yeah, right. The Dubai Summit. I forgot about that.
Right. That meeting happened on Tuesday, apparently, and it involved Chalaram Uvitia, the main Red Bull shareholder.
Okay, so this wasn't just a casual chat. This was a big deal, a serious decision.
Absolutely. They flew everyone out to Dubai to make this call, so, they're serious about it.
Got it. So Lawson's out of the Red Bull seat. But what happens to him now? Is he totally done with the team?
Well, F1 Blogs Netherlands says that he's being demoted back to racing goals, so he's not completely out of the picture.
Oh, okay. Interesting. There were those rumors about Franco Colapinto maybe taking Tsunoda's old seat and that Lawson might be left with nowhere to go.
Right, but it seems like he'll get another chance at Racing Bulls, for now at least.
Wow, it's crazy how quickly things change in F1. 1 minute, you're at the top team. The next, you're back in the junior squad.
It is. And, this whole situation with Lawson, it kind of reminds me of what happened to Daniel Kvyat back in 2016.
Oh, yeah, when he got swapped out for Verstappen.
Exactly. Red Bull has a history of making these big driver changes if they think it'll improve performance.
Right. They're not afraid to shake things up.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder what this means for Checo Perez.
Yeah, he signed that contract extension, but then they replaced him with Lawson, and now Lawson's out, so it's like, what's the plan?
Yeah, it makes you think about their long-term strategy. Do they really see Perez as their guy, or are they just waiting for the right opportunity to make another change?
Good question, and it's interesting because one of the articles mentioned a stat that Tsunoda has actually beaten Lawson in every single F1 race they've both competed in.
Really, every single one? Wow, that's going to be a factor in their decision.
For sure, it shows that Tsunoda has the pace, and maybe they think he can push Verstappen harder than Lawson could.
Yeah, makes sense. And this timing, too, right before a triple header, Japan, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and then Miami in the European races. It's a busy period.
Absolutely. So they want Tsunoda settled in and ready to go before things get really intense.
For sure. But man, those are some huge shoes to fill. Being Verstappen's teammate, the pressure must be insane.
It is. And one article even said that for Tsunoda, just being within 0.6 of a second of Verstappen in qualifying would be considered a success.
Wow, 0.6. That's still a pretty big gap.
It is, but it shows the level Verstappen's at. He's the benchmark.
Yeah.
And Tsunoda's got a tough task ahead of him.
Well, for those of you keeping up with the news on F1 blogs, this pretty much confirms what we've been seeing. There are these rumors were flying around, and now it seems like they're true.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch it all unfold, and it just shows how quickly things move in F1.
Right, from Lawson struggles to the Dubai meeting to the news breaking on F1 blogs. It all happened so fast.
Exactly. It's a reminder that this is a high-stakes world. There's no room for error, and decisions get made quickly.
All right, so to recap what we've learned in these F1 blogs reports, it looks like Lawson's time at Red Bull is over after just 2 races.
Yep. He's heading back to Racing Bulls, and Tsunoda's stepping up to partner Verstappen.
A very surprising move this early in the season, and it all seems to come down to Lawson's performance and Honda's support for Tsunoda.
That's the gist of it, but it does raise some bigger questions. What does this say about the pressure at Red Bull? Can Tsunoda handle it? And what's next for Lawson?
Yeah, lots to think about, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. So what do you think? What's your take on all of this?
Honestly, it's tough to say this early on, but I think it's a bold move by Red Bull. They're clearly not messing around, and they want to win.
Right. They're not afraid to take risks, and Tsunoda's got a huge opportunity here.
He does, but it's a double-edged sword. The pressure could be overwhelming, but if he can deliver, he could really make a name for himself.
Totally. And it's going to be fascinating to watch him go up against Verstappen. That's a battle I can't wait to see.
Me neither. And this whole situation just shows you how unpredictable F1 can be. You never know what's going to happen next.
Absolutely. So true. Well, this has been a wild ride. Thanks for breaking it all down with me.
My pleasure. Anytime.
And all of you listening, thanks for tuning in to this deep dive into the latest F1 drama. Remember to keep the conversation going on F1 blogs. Let us know your thoughts on this driver swap and what you think it means for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. And if you want to stay on top of all the F1 action, make sure you subscribe to the F1 blogs channel for more updates and discussions like this.
We'll be back soon with more F1 news and analysis. Until then, keep those engines running.
See you on the next one.
Bye.